Alright everyone, this is Matt Cellitti, and today I'm talking about the new instrument from Twisted Tools. This one is called S-Layer. It is absolutely phenomenal. I'm having so much fun working with it. It is basically a sample layering instrument that allows you to create really unique, interesting sound combinations using the incredible samples that are provided or using your own sample library. Any kind of found sounds you have, whatever you can throw at it, it's going to just deliver amazing results. So the whole idea behind it is layering samples and randomly creating new sounds that you can actually use for whatever you like, actually. So what I'm going to do is quickly just come in and explain. I've created an initial patch, and I'm just going to explain what we're looking at here so you can actually get an idea. So again, the concept is layering different samples, and this area right here, you can actually see each color is an individual sample. So there's 8 layers of samples that you can select. And then down here in these parameter pages, this is what you're going to be concerning yourself with mostly throughout the instrument. So you have 4 main pages: the main, effects, envelope, and external. And what they allow you to do is actually use these sliders and these cells to adjust all the main sample parameters you're going to need. And the way it works is each sample is controlled along this cell. So for instance, there's about 128 samples that come in here. All sorts of stuff. For instance, the first 25 are pretty much just like kicks. And you have a bunch of snares that you can blend together. Hi-hats, weird shots, spoken things, I mean anything. Analog sounding goodness. Weird glitchy effects, sound effects, loops, all the good stuff. So what you can do is actually select multiple samples just by using this cell area right here. So for instance, let's go in and just kind of randomly draw in a bunch and see what happens. Now you see this little number? This actually corresponds to the number of the sample in the sample map. So sample 127 or sample 0 would be this zap, for instance. So very easy to control. You can just kind of randomly put something in and trigger it. Kind of an interesting sound. Now from there I can actually adjust sample start points. So obviously we're starting halfway into the sample wave file. If you want to go back to normal, you can just double click on the name. So say I want to actually adjust pitches. What's also great is that you can actually randomize things. So just simply, I can randomize to my heart's content and actually just come up with different ideas here. Same thing with panning, all sorts of things. And if you look down below in this modulation area, you have 4 wrappers. These aren't like hip-hop wrappers. These are actually going to allow you to scroll through the different modulations in an interesting way. So I kind of like the sample, right? But what if I wanted to just kind of move the wrapper and come up with a whole bunch of different sound combinations just by simply moving a couple things here and there? You see right away you can get very, very interesting results. If you want and you need to actually solo something so you can hear what each sample layer is doing, you can do that. Or you can simply mute out some you don't want to use, however you like. You can reverse the samples. Very interesting. I'm going to go back and I kind of like that. So however you like, let's go to the next page actually. Effects. From there, we can actually do some granular stretching, all sorts of interesting things like this. You can do filtering, so let's put like a low pass. Whatever you like. Now, we don't always just want to modulate by actually drawing in sometimes we actually want to use sequencers, for instance. So you can see there are 4 different sequencer configurations that can be applied to almost every cell, from whether you're switching through different samples randomly, start, pitch, whatever. So for instance, maybe I want to have like a cutoff swell. So what we can do is actually select this sequence and draw in whatever I want. So let's just kind of draw in a sweep, kind of like a sine wave type thing. See what happens. Very nice. Now you have how many different modulators? 4 different sequencers. You can put them on in different ways. And instantly we're creating nice new options. You even have a spread and a slide. So for instance, maybe you don't want all those samples coming in at the exact same time. You can kind of spread them out varying degrees. And then the slide amount will kind of be like a more of a glide. Give you a little smoother transition between them. Right away, whatever I started with, I don't remember now, but it's like completely something really interesting that I can use and resample. What's cool about this is I've been hitting C3 this entire time. So what if I actually hit C#3? Well, it goes right back into the beginning because we're working with scenes here. So every consecutive chromatic note up from C3 is going to be a different scene. So you have 8 scenes, at which point I can totally just tweak it out however I like. Or if you actually want, you can just transpose this and play it across your keyboard in different ways. So playing it real high on my keyboard or real low. Whatever you like. I kind of like using the scenes because maybe I have this, so I'm going to copy it and I'm coming to scene 2 and I'm going to paste it again, except let's do something crazy random. Now you have all these nice little options to randomize things, right? For instance, whether I want grain on or off, the cutoff amount, I'm going to leave that. Let's come to the main. Let's select random samples, whether they're going to play reversed. Let's do random pitch, random panning. Envelope, we're going to leave. Nope, you know what? We're going to say if we want to actually loop the sample or not. So once I've selected a bunch of these parameters, I can now come up to the top and hit the random button, at which point it's going to randomize only the things I've told to randomize. So let's give it a shot, see what we happen. I didn't like that one. So you can just keep going till you stumble upon something cool. I like that one. So that's saved now in scene 2. I can come back to scene 1 at any time. So Twisted Tools kind of calls this instrument a happy accident generator, and from working with it, that's kind of really what I feel like. You can sort of dial in a sound and then tweak it a little bit with the sequencers, the wrappers, or randomization to get a new sound. And then so just kind of copy and paste, and next thing you know, you've created a snapshot that allows you to have all these different wacky sounds that you would have never normally gone after when you're doing sound design. So in a good way, it's like fun, creative, useful randomization. Randomizing isn't always useful, everyone. So this is a great tool for that. Now, of course, you have the included sample library, but you can always come in and say, you know, you want to load in. So let's just go in and initialize this again. And so we can go in and load in any kind of sample map you want. So I've created one. I created one with 65 different bass drums. So I want to blend between all my favorite bass drums, maybe using a bunch of different kicks I like to create a monster kick. So for hip hoppers and everyone, or anyone doing any kind of music really, but like in hip hop, you have sampled kicks that's very important to work with. I did one where I just took like 10 cinematic hits, you know, whooshes, slams, crashes, tom hits, all that good stuff. So say if I want to start editing these and turn these into a new super instrument, I can go in, and what I'm going to use here is this slider. This slider is great because you can actually constrain the amount of samples you want. So you see, I'll just constrain it to about 9. I'm using pretty much 9 samples here. So now when I move, it's much more intricate. I'm not sure what the word would be, but it's a lot easier to dial in the samples you want now to create something new. That's really interesting. So let's solo. I don't want that coming in so long. And I want it pitched down. What's great too, if you do a lot of randomization or moving the samples and the wrappers around, what you can do is actually double click. And now when I would move something, the ones that are double clicked won't be affected. Very interesting stuff. Let's just get nuts with it real quick. There we go. I love it. I'm going to use it. Don't forget inside of Reaktor that you can actually come in and record these sounds. So for instance, you know, I like this sound. Why not save it for later? Yes, we want to overwrite. And let's just skip. From there we can stop. There it is. Drag it to our desktop. Rename it whatever you want. I would probably call this Horror Factory or something like that. Who knows? Really great stuff though. And what else can we do here? Oh, effects. So you have two effects here, a nanoverb and a delay unit right off the bat. So if you actually want to send an insert to maybe just a few of the samples, you can easily do that. And let's give it a little delay on a couple of these. Very easy to do. Now, if you want to take it a step further, you can actually route your own effects in. So if we go under the hood, if you will, you can see here are effects we have. And if you want, simply right-click, add your own Reaktor modules, maybe just use things that are already built in, like the Echomania, and we can just simply come in and then reroute this as necessary to be able to use this as an insert. So it's not limited if you want to get crazier with the effects or anything like that. Really, really fantastic stuff. So in general, I mean, if I had 2 hours to actually do a tutorial and really help you understand how far and how interesting with the sound design you can get, I mean, I'd gladly do it. But you get this thing, you sit down with it, and next thing you know, you come out with all this beautiful noises, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's really interesting, and it's a way of approaching sound design that you not normally are going to do. Like, I'm coming up with things that I would have never thought to do, and then I'm easily able to control them just by the simple intuitive controls that are already laid out. If you want to take it a step further, there's going to be a Lemur iPad template from Antonio Blanca that is actually going to control this as well. So get super futuristic with it. It's going to be great. But I consider this a must-have for any sound designer or anyone just looking to layer samples in a unique, interesting way to create new one-shots, new drums, new anything. So you have to check it out. Great price, great ability to destroy, in a good way, all your samples. Hope you enjoy.